Hello financial investors and welcome to the channel. My name is Brent and in today's video we are going to be doing our stock market weekly recap for the 9th to the 13th of November 2020. We're going to go ahead and cover the week priors, changes for the week, that way we can kind of see where we were at. Then we're going to go ahead and jump into this past week's changes of the week, go over the four main indexes, take a look at the entire S&P 500 performance for this past week, what stocks were up, what stocks were down, what sectors were strong, what sectors were weak. Then we'll go ahead and cover oil, the dollar, silver, gold, bonds, look at the 10-year bond rate and mortgage rates, and kind of wrap it up right around there. I like to do these weekly recaps to kind of keep track of what exactly is going on out there in the market. We are 1 week after the presidential election has been decided. They are currently recounting a few ballots on a few different states, but overall I do believe that the results are going to be final with what took place the past week. So we can kind of see how the market is moving on the news of the election with things being finalized. We are getting spikes in illness, but overall, here in Oregon, we just got an announcement this past week that we're going back into shutdowns in the small businesses. So starting here on Monday on Monday this following week, there's going to be multiple businesses that are going to have to shut down or go into no longer allowing personnel to enter their establishment. So it's going to be another bash to all those small, mid-sized businesses that rely on customers coming in and getting seated or getting their items from those stores. So with that said, if you are brand new to my channel, have not yet subscribed, go down below, hit the red button to subscribe, make it gray, hit the bell to be notified every time we release a brand new video, and of course give this video a thumbs up, make it blue, and let's go ahead and get into the video. So what week did we come out of? It was a super green week. The S&P 500 put on 7.32%, the Dow Jones 6.87%, the Nasdaq 9.01%, and the Russell 2000 6.87%. So it was an amazing week with all the indexes moving up nearly 7 to 9%. That is a huge swing to the upside, after the news of the presidential election. We also had silver up 8.28, gold up 3.99, and bonds were up 0.53%. So really across the board, there was not any single area that was weak. The indexes were strong, materials were strong, bonds and mortgages were also pretty strong. Mortgages rose just slightly, showing that there is some sort of recovery being seen here. So that is the week prior. Now this following week here, the 9th through the 13th, hope you all had a great Friday the 13th, we had the S&P 500 put on an additional 2.16%. We have now crossed the threshold of being halfway to 4,000 points here within the S&P 500. That is a crazy amount here. If we just look back 3 months ago, we can see that the S&P 500, I believe for a short period, did break below 3,000. We can see here that we had hit some all-time highs. I believe we hit some all-time highs this week as well, but we are back up there. So year to date, the S&P 500 is up nearly 11%. The Dow Jones this week, I believe this one is in second or third place. We'll take a look at that. The Dow Jones this week continued to move higher, up 4.08%, putting them now in the green year to date by 3.3%. I don't know many investors who invest directly in the Dow Jones. Ticker symbol is DIA for the Dow Jones. The S&P 500 one, I know a lot of investors that buy up VU. I own VU in different accounts. I own different ETFs, exchange traded funds, that track something similar to the S&P 500 within different Roth 401ks and my Roth IRA. So the S&P 500 is definitely an index that is tracked a lot more and bought into versus the Dow Jones. Let me know down below in the comment section if you know anybody who invests in the Dow Jones index. I'd be interested in knowing that. Now the only index this week is the Nasdaq as far as the four primaries. The Nasdaq index dropped down by 0.55%. It is still the number one winner year to date, up 31.84%, but with the announcement of, I actually don't know, we're re-shutting down the economy locally. I know with Biden coming in as president in January, I know he had talked about more lockdowns for the safety of others and such like that. So I'm not sure why the Nasdaq in itself is losing. It could just be because of the vaccine. There was a big announcement for Pfizer in the past week, shot up 10% for the 90% effectiveness vaccine. That played a part in the Nasdaq being hit, and it could just be, it's waiting right now. Are investors going to be selling off some of these high-flying stocks, the FANGs, and moving their money into some of the less loved stocks? I guess we'll find that out here in the future, but overall, the Nasdaq had gone down just slightly, 0.55%. Now, the Russell 2000 is up 6.08%. So here we go with the small mid-cap businesses believing with the vaccine, because of the tech stocks kind of getting sold off a little bit, some of that money may have flowed down into these businesses that were hit pretty hard during the lockdown, maybe showing that in the future, maybe within the next 6 months to a year or further out, that some of these smaller businesses, these mid-sized businesses that had been pretty hit hard here in the short term, are going to be recovering. So some of that money is flowing into these smaller mid-cap businesses, and there we see that jump there, 6.08%, putting the Russell 2000 index also in the positive year to date by 4.53%. So right now we're looking at number one, we have the S&P 500 up 6.29. In second place, the Russell up 6.08. The Dow Jones in third at 4.08. And the Nasdaq is the low loser here, down 0.55%. Now, taking a look here over at finviz.com, I know I get a lot of comments as far as what website I use for this heat map, but I use finviz.com. This takes a look at the entire S&P 500. We're looking at the 1 week performance here. Now, taking a look at this, you can see what stocks are out there in the Nasdaq. Amazon down 5.51%. Netflix down 6.2%, Facebook down 5.61%, Nvidia nearly down 9%, Adobe, Microsoft, and so on. So lots of red out there within the FANG stocks. FANG make up 25, nearly 30% of the Nasdaq and the S&P 500. And while the S&P 500 does have a good chunk of these FANG stocks, you saw that the S&P 500 still put on 6.29%, meaning that while these ones were down 25% of the portfolio is down, the other 75% really shot up a really good amount. So Cisco here, we had just bought this one not too long ago. I added some more equity into this one, believing that in the $30 range, it was really good price, value-wise. Went up 10.31% here. Financials, credit services, both Visa and MasterCard up nicely, between 6 to 7%. Financials, JP Morgan, look at that, 10.8%, followed by Bank of America, Wells Fargo, Citibank. Everything is nearly double digits besides Wells Fargo. So really, there's a lot of green out there in the financial sectors, the healthcare sectors. We see Pfizer continuing to move higher. Even after last week's 10% gain, it puts on another 6% gain this following week. Johnson & Johnson up another 5.38%. Now, there isn't a whole lot of red out there. I do see some red here within the diagnostics. So with Pfizer maybe coming in first place with that vaccine, maybe some of these other companies that are not too well known. I actually don't know much about the diagnostics and research area of the market. So these ones look like quite a bit of them are red. So that is really interesting. I also see some air products and chemicals down here. APD, not to be confused with ADP, is down there in the negative by 14%. So interesting to see UPS and FedEx both down around 2.4 to 2.8%. So that's really interesting to see both of those. I'm not sure what out there in the news caused both of the delivery services to go down there. I'd be really interested in some of the REITs here. I know my REITs don't really show up in here. Ticker symbol EPR and SPG. Oh, there's SPG. I know. So there's Simon Property Group went up 20.76%, and Realty Income up 8.73%. So some big jump backs from there. I know one of the comments from Scott this past week, was saying, "Hey, aren't you glad that you didn't sell Simon Property Group? This following week here, it just jumped up 20%. It doesn't make up for I believe it's still down some 60 or so percent. We'll cover that on our Monday video. But, with time, it will recover, and that company in itself still continues to pay out a dividend. So overall, most of the market was pretty positive. There were some patches of the stocks that had been high flying since March that did get hit, such as PayPal, Microsoft, the FANG stocks. So those are down here in the short term for this past week. Oil jumped up 6.31%, still down for the year, 72.54%. That's pretty crazy. I don't know how accurate that is because I know oil did do a stock split. I don't know if it was I can't remember now if it was a reversal or a stock split. I believe it was like a 6-for-1, but I just don't know if it reversed or split up. Then we have the dollar. The dollar this week, while the markets were flying higher, I expected the dollar index to actually move lower. In this case, it had actually moved higher. We started the week here at 92.16. It moved higher to 92.72, closing there on Friday. So really interesting to see the indexes move up. But here we saw the dollar index also move up. But generally, when the market's moving higher, I usually see the dollar index move lower. Silver and gold, maybe this is sort of the influx of it. We had the dollar move higher, but silver and gold are both negative for the week. So silver, it was positive. Remember last week, silver was up 8.23%. So it did lose this week 3.7%. Gold also lost 3.28%. Gold basically lost everything that I had made the following week. It was at 183.23. It is, gold's at 177 now. So they've dropped by quite a bit. Bonds this week also fell by 0.22%. It didn't lose everything. Bonds aren't an area that I really invest in myself. It is up 0.53%. It did lose about half of it this week, down 0.22%. Now, the 10-year rate, this is something that's really interesting that I've been kind of tracking the growth of this one. It was down 2 points the week prior at 0.82. This week, it is now at 0.89. That's a 7-point difference there between just last week and this week. So we are seeing that the 10-year Treasury rate is maybe breaking above 1%, which I believe this is going to show, some positivity out there for the market and our bank accounts. The interest rates have been dropping. I remember when Wealthfront offered a 2.77% APR. I wish I had, the opportunity to have locked that in a high yield, a no penalty CD account, but I did lock in a no penalty CD over at CIT Bank at, I believe, 1.75. So I did lock in some cash over there, and I locked it in a couple times, just different chances. So kind of interesting there. And then jumping over into our mortgage. So the mortgages actually rose by 8 basis points. I think this is one of the largest growths. 8 basis points may not seem large, but that's one of the biggest jumps that I've seen in the past few weeks. So I think that there is a lot of positivity with the vaccine of how the economy, the market, the stocks, the job market, the returning to work and getting back to the norm. If this vaccine is effective and we do treat the high-risk individuals, then, say 6 months, a year, 2 years out, everything that has happened here in the short term will have recovered, and anybody that was able to lock in at these mortgage rates in the 2 to 3% range, I had an offer from, I believe, better.com of 2.25 for, I believe, a 15 and a 2.5 or 2.75 for a 30-year. And our home is still being built. They haven't even touched the ground because we're waiting on the city to approve the plans because it's a brand new property and brand new build that hasn't been built before. So we're still kind of waiting on that. But I'd really like to lock in a rate in the 2s for 30 years. Hopefully we're able to do that and interest rates don't rise too fast. I'm really hoping. So that is the mortgage changes there for this past week. So I didn't really post a whole lot as far as the markets. It was crazy. So here I posted this 5 days ago that the portfolio within a 1 week change had gone up 8.8 0.07%. That is a massive swing. A lot of that, again, was thanks to Apple, up nearly 12% there, Pfizer up 11% there, and Eaton Vance continuing to move higher. Those positions are my top three, I believe, as far as positions inside of the M1 Finance portfolio. I did sell off my ETF SPLV, about $7,000 worth of stock within one of the other Roth IRAs account. I am going to be moving my own Roth IRA from M1 Finance over to Fidelity. I am going through that whole process now, but the wife's portfolio over at M1 Finance that we kind of publicly show here on the channel, that one is still staying for the moment, and until we're able to kind of transfer that one away. We did do one stock buy on Monday. I think it was Pfizer, but I don't know. I've kind of forgot. And Friday the 13th. I thought this meme was great. Somebody else had shared it, and I thought it was funny. So, it's Friday tomorrow, Friday the 13th in 2020. What could happen? So I know here in where I live, immediately after midnight on Friday, the internet went out at my house, my friend's house, several other part of the city, and then our friends in cities like 2 or 3 cities away, their internet all went out. And it was a planned maintenance that nobody had actually known about, but it was just kind of funny to see the internet go out while we were all kind of playing some games that night. So that is basically all that we really posted here on the Facebook page. I will try and post some more information that goes on here on the weekly basis, but that is going to be it for this video. Let me know down in the comment section below, what were your stock buys of the week? What was your positive stocks, your negative stocks, if you had any that were negative out there? Are you planning on buying anything here in the short term? Are you just kind of watching the market to see what it does? I'll be interested in your feedback. Also, if you are brand new to the channel, have not yet subscribed, go down below, hit the red button to subscribe, make it gray, hit the bell to be notified every time we release a brand new video, and of course, give this video a thumbs up, make it blue, and I will see you guys in the next video. Bye bye.